Hello everyone, Jamarcus here, and I'm here with week 2 of the SPDA Master Ball Division for Showdown. And we're faced off against Maki, and they have a very interesting team, and a team I feel like I've faced before. I think this is my third or maybe fourth time facing a Torn plus Hearthflame core, and I feel like Claude, Sylveon, Quaquaval I've also seen with these guys. Um, as for matchup, they don't have the best freeze dry resist. It's really just Bronzong. Freeze dry kind of cooks everything else, although Sylveon takes the hits pretty well. Um, Sylveon's kind of their only answer for Roaring Moon. They don't have much priority. Pixelate Quick Attack, maybe. I don't know. Um, their grass type's Ogerpon, so besides that, Swampert's pretty good. Um, they've got triple spin, so hazards aren't necessarily the best bring, but I'll probably still bring them. As for what looks good on my team, I'm actually bringing my Wincon as Screamtail with Booster Speed Calm Mind. I think it can set up on a lot of Pokemon, and that should win the game. And I've got some other supporting pieces, as you'll see. It's finally time to take a Terra Captain off the bench, and it's not one of the good ones. So, starting off, a very odd Kyurem set. This is my dedicated lead. Some HP, max defense, some special attack with a plus special attack nature, and some speed. So pretty slow, slower than Quaquaval. Um, I'm faster than max speed Sylveon though. And I also have enough speed so that after +1, I outspeed Ogerpon Hearthflame. I have Icicle Spear plus DD and then Freeze Dry Shadow Ball. So I'm DD in one physical attack with no attack investment. Shadow Ball is just there for Bronzong. Freeze Dry hits everything else. Icicle Spear's stronger into their SPDF walls. And like an AV Torn. That's my dedicated lead. The defense lets me live a close combat from Quaquaval, unless they're adamant. I should be living a defensive Hyper Voice from Sylveon. I live any hit from um, Deoxys. I live 2 Ivy Cudgels from Ogerpon. I'm living 2 Gyro Balls or Body Presses from Bronzong. This thing's a tank, and by leading it, I don't have to worry about rocks because I do have Clodsire and Bronzong to get those up. There's my win con for Screamtail. I knew I wanted this thing. It's pretty much just max speed. It outspeeds Ogerpon. And then max special attack, Calm Mind with D-Gleam, Psyshock. Psyshock because it's stronger into Clodsire and Sylveon. And then Flamethrower just for Bronzong. They definitely need to be Levitate this game because Kyurem's so good into their team if they don't bring Levitate Bronzong. Next up is Conk. Really boring set, max attack Adamant with max SPDF, AV, a little bit of speed just in case Dunsparce shows up. I want to avoid that speed tie. I'm Iron Fist. I had Guts. I changed it last second. Drain Punch, Knockoff Ice Punch, Mach Punch. Initially, I had Poison Jab and enough speed for a defensive Sylveon, but I decided that Mach Punch would be better in case Quaquaval or Ogerpon got out of hand, and it's also really strong into Cyclizar. Knockoff is nice, just to get rid of items, get rid of boots, and then Ice Punch is there for Clodsire and I guess Torn. Next up is Roaring Moon. Not as a win con, just as a Scarfer. It outspeeds everything on their team. Um, outspeeds +1 Ogerpon and below. Outspeeds Deoxys speed as well. Outrage, besides for Sylveon and Bronzong, really has no switch in. It kind of does like 80% to everything, if not kill. Crunch is also nice. I don't have knockoff because Crunch is doing more damage after 2 hits, and I'm knocking things off already with Conkeldurr. And I also had another knockoff user in Swampert, but I actually took that off the team last second. So I'm going with Crunch instead. Ironhead's just there for Sylveon, and then U-turn to pivot around. This thing is another potential lead, but I definitely plan on the Kyurem lead. Next up is Carbink, really standard set, max HP, max SPDF, with Iron Defense Body Press, Spikes, and Rest with Chesto Berry. Terra Poison is pretty hard for their team to kill, besides Deoxys. It's pretty nice into their team. Also stops me getting toxic from Clodsire. This thing could just win the game if Deoxys goes down early or something. If they're like lead Deoxys, then Carbon just gets Iron defenses and can win. Need to be careful of crits though, of course, and like Calm Mind Sylveon. Last up, Iron Moth. I put this thing on the team last second. It's just max speed, max special attack with boots. It speed ties Ogerpon. I have Overheat just because I noticed their fire resist is only Quick Wobble, and I guessed Cyclizar. So Overheat's pretty nice into their team. Sludge Wave, nice for Ogerpon, and I guess Sylveon, because my team kind of struggled with Sylveon. Energy Ball's there for Quick Wobble, and then U-Turn, just to have U-Turn. It's a good move. So that's the team I brought. What do I expect to see from them? Honestly, just top 6. Maybe Bronzong over Ogerpon or Clodsire. I think Sylveon's the biggest threat to my team. Bronzong's really good defensively as well. I don't think Morpeko or Dunsparce will show up. I don't really think Cyclizar's good either. But let's see. So we do see the Clodsire. We see no Quaquaval, but besides that, not too surprising. Sylveon is there, as is Ogerpon. So since I took Swampert off, I don't actually have rocks, which is a little unfortunate. Um, Maybe they would have been better here, but I do have spikes. So I'm leading Kiram. Uh, that's it. So I live 2 hits from this thing. If they go for Rock Tomb, they will lower my speed and I'll reset it, and they'll activate my weakness policy. But I will live any next hit they go for. I live 2 play roughs as well. Actually, I might be lying. 2 play roughs might kill me, but I do go for Dragon Dance here, just because I know I'll live any hit. They can activate my weakness policy if they have coverage, or Ivy Cudgel. It won't 2-hit KO me unless they crit. So they crit. Unfortunate. I click DD. They see that I'm like max defense. I'm really bulky. And they're probably just going into Bronzong as their answer. And yeah, no surprises here. That crit was really unfortunate because it means I'm dying to Gyro Ball or Body Press on this thing. If they didn't crit, I would not have died. So I just click Shadow Ball, get my chip. They don't Terra, which is nice. And yeah, they take me out. Had I not gotten crit turn 1, I would have lived that, gotten +3 special attack, and Shadow Ball is unresisted into their team. It would have been very strong. And they can't go Clodsire. Icicle Spear's killing. They would have been in a really tough spot. Although I am still slower than Tornadus and Deoxys, so it's not like I'm winning the game turn 1, but I'm doing a lot of damage to their team. So an unfortunate start, but I do get Bronzong low, which is one of the 2 things that can switch into Outrage from Roaring Moon. It's also really good into Scream Tail, so getting this thing chipped, putting it in range of like a +1 flamethrower is really good. There were a lot of ways I could have decided to take this thing out. I figured they would just sack it anyways. This thing was here for Kiro. I could have clicked Overheat. They don't have an Overheat resist. I was definitely thinking about that. Could have also just clicked Crunch with Roaring Moon, but I opt for clicking Knockoff with Conk. I figured they struggle to revenge shield this thing most of anything, so I go into it. I take them out, and they come into Tornadus. Ice Punch is going to do a lot of damage to this. They cannot kill me, so I'm clicking Ice Punch. I didn't really think too much about this turn. They end up being Specs, and I live on 1%. That was a high roll at that. It was a roll to kill me, but it's in my favor. Ice Punch barely doesn't kill them. It does put them in range of Mach Punch. Instead of clicking Mach Punch here, which I think was a really obvious play and wouldn't get me much of anything if they switch, I'll make a double into Carbink. I figured it would cover every other Pokemon they would go into. In comes Sylveon, biggest threat to my team. Bronzong is dead, so if I can kill Sylveon, I think Scarf Roaring Moon Outrage just wins the game easily. So I really want to kill this Sylveon if I can. I Terra Poison on their Calm Mind, and I set up a Spike. That was really greedy. I didn't know they would be Calm Mind though. I thought if they're just Wish, Protect, Baton Pass, Hyper Voice, I don't have anything to be worried about. In hindsight, maybe I should have clicked Iron Defense to get the jump on this thing and start doing more damage. There's Psyshock instead of Psychic, which is really good for me. If they were Psychic, I would not have gotten to a KO'd. But them being Psyshock means I can boost and negate how much damage they're doing to me. I rest. I don't want to risk crits just yet. I'm going to keep clicking Iron Defense. I Iron Defense once more. And I'm just going to start clicking Body Press, try and figure out what this thing's set is. Is it max defense? Do I think it might have some speed? I don't know. So instead of clicking Rest here, I just get my damage. And they end up being max Fizz Def, which is bad for me because it means Ironhead does not kill from Roaring Moon. Although with this thing being chipped down, I do think Screamtail as a win con is good. I could have clicked Rest there, but then I'm having to risk a lot of crits, and they can Calm Mind. Maybe their last move is Wish. They could heal up. I'll just get my damage. Them not being leftovers was really good for me. So I go into Roaring Moon. I know this doesn't kill, but I'm going for the Screamtail win with booster speed. Ironhead will do about 45% to this thing. I could get a flinch, that would be great. Alternatively, I could have gone Iron Moth and clicked Sludge Wave, but that could let them start clicking Wish, which I wouldn't want. So by clicking Ironhead, I'm forcing them to just attack and keep this thing low, which is good. So I click Ironhead, and I get a crit. That mattered, absolutely. Would not have killed without it. I do have the flinch chance as well, but that is low. I guess that balances out the crit from on Kiram earlier on. So I get a crit. That's fantastic. Roaring Moon just sweeps through the rest of this team now. Outrage is OHKOing everything pretty much. I switch into Iron Moth here. I figure this thing doesn't do anything. It can switch into this thing once. It can get some chip on Clodsire or something, and you turn around. I don't need this. I'd rather keep Mach Punch in the back. They miss a play rough, that would have done like 8%, that's fine. I thought about clicking U-turn this turn, but I didn't see Fire Resist, so I figured let's click Overheat, figure out what this Clodsire set is, and they're max SPDA. That's really good for Roaring Moon, it means it's going to kill it easier. I switched hard into Roaring Moon because I figured the only move they would click that turn is Earthquake, which wouldn't do much to Roaring Moon and I would kill them next turn. So I go into Roaring Moon. I know they're not Scarf, so I can kill Tornadus comfortably. I didn't want to click Outrage yet because there's 4 Pokemon alive. I don't want to get confused and be put in a bad position. Crunch is doing enough to everything. Deoxys comes in here on my Scarf Crunch, so this is a super telegraphed Cobra Berry. I know they can't kill me though, so I figured I'll just get my chip. I don't really have anything else to go into. Maybe I could have gone Screamtail here, but I think just sacking Conkeldurr after I click 1 Crunch makes sense. There's nothing they can go for to kill me, unless they're max attack superpower, but even then, I think Screamtail just comes in and wins the game afterwards. Um, with that being said, Screamtail does not kill Ogerpon at +1, so that could be put in a bit of a bad situation. It would be in range of Mach Punch though, so it would be a close end game if they happen to be attack invested. So maybe I could have switched there instead, but I don't get punished for it. I click Crunch again because I know I'm faster than them. I didn't even consider them being extreme speed. I don't think it would have killed, but I definitely should have considered it. But again, I still have the Screamtail in the back. So a couple misplays maybe. Could have played it a bit safer. Crunch does not kill here, so I decide to sack Conkeldurr and just go for the outrage win. Even with the +1 speed, Roaring Moon is still faster. And outrage wins the game. So a couple of misplays for sure. I could have played a little safer around this Roaring Moon endgame. I did not plan for Roaring Moon to win the game, but getting that crit on Sylveon was huge. I don't think I lost the game if I didn't get that crit. I think Screamtail still had a lot of potential. I can set up on Deoxys. I think they were fully special attacking, so I can just Calm Mind on them. I think they ended up being Taunt as their last move, but even after one Calm Mind, I should be good. And then Iron Moth was still at 100% too, so it could come down to a speed tie on Ogerpon, and they might not even have a move to hit me. I don't know. They probably had Stomping Tantrum last though. So we win 3-0. That means we are 2 wins, 0 losses in this league so far. We have 8 differentials, so I think that puts us at third in the power rankings. Not bad. Um, Closer games than last week, although both games were close. Pretty happy with how I played for the most part. I'm pretty happy with the team I brought. The Skirum set didn't quite work, but that's fine. Didn't get a chance to try Butcher's Screamtail, but maybe another week. Everything else was fairly standard. Glad Carbon could show up at least once. So, there we are. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.